The following podcast is brought to you on behalf of the Saracens Supporters Association and is not an official product of Saracens Limited. Content provided voluntarily by our guests and contributors are of their own opinion, which may change over time and should not be taken as fact, particularly as the podcast hosts are regularly talking drivel anyway. If you've got some drivel of your own you'd like to share, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Fezcast_SSA. You can search Facebook for the Fezcast, or you can email fezcast.ssa@outlook.com.
You're listening to the Fezcast.
Welcome everybody to the Fezcast, and you might hear in the background that there's a bit of Sweet Caroline going on, which has upset Matt, but I'm here with Matt, John, Sam, Barry in the immediate aftermath of what has been possibly one of the most amazing games of rugby that we've seen in a long time. How are we all feeling, gentlemen?
Unwell.
Unbelievable. I mean, my mate's brought his Northampton friend with him, and I said, keep your hands in your pockets on the way home, son, otherwise they get picked again.
Well, yeah, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, speechless really. That was 39-17, I think we were going home really, weren't we? But who other than Saracens really play a game like that? It's just insane really, isn't it?
Absolutely. And John, for you?
No other team wins that game. Yeah, it's as simple as that. It's just no other team wins that. With all the injuries, all the players consistently going off, we end up with two hookers on. I don't even know what the team looked like at the end there, but no other team wins that.
Absolutely. Well, we'll go into a bit more depth on that in our third part, because I think we're going to have a quick word about England's men's yesterday and England women's, but we got a big interview this week. Joe, who's not with us, is joining Matt and interviewing Fi McIntosh tomorrow, isn't it? And you're going to discuss the Women's World Rugby Cup final. A game, well, yeah, there's lots of contentious red cards, I think, over it. But first off, England yesterday, very quickly against Japan. I'll tell you this now straight off. Marcus Smith, every time he did something, I turned around to the missus and said, Christ, what is he doing? And then suddenly he'd pop up with two tries. But yeah, Japan didn't really perform, I don't think, and it's a performance that gloss over some cracks. Any guy want to disagree with me?
No, but Japan weren't the only side to not perform, because England were awful. Absolutely shocking. I mean, for a game they won, whatever, 56, whatever it was at the end, I mean, it was daft, but they were just poor. They seemed clueless. I mean, eventually they just ran in a couple of tries at the end and kind of, it was just a poor game. Such a contrast with the England women's game as well, where they showed real heart, real determination and real bloody team spirit. And England just don't, they're not the sum of their parts. They really are.
Absolutely not. And I think I spotted an issue which the spotted on commentary, and give a big out there to David Flatman, because I've seen Flats at the ground today. He's got to be the busiest man in rugby at the moment. He really has. But I think it was him who spotted it, or one of the guys spotted it. There's this desire from England in defence just to come blitzing out. Maratoji, Owen Farrell did it. They're obviously coached that they're going to get off the line, and it's been creating gaps all over the place. And against a better team than Japan, they're going to get badly exposed to that. Don't you think, guys?
Well, I must admit, I haven't seen the game, but just because I was watching the other code yesterday. But I think the issue, which just seems to be, it kind of comes off the back of the tour and off coming into the autumn internationals. I think the coaches have taken us as far as they can, and unfortunately, it's at the hurdle just before the World Cup. I don't think the coaching staff have got the changing room, and I don't think Eddie Jones can take England any further than he already has, and that's a real issue for us a year out from the World Cup. He's going to continue, and I can't see us doing very well in this World Cup, and it's almost taken away a lot of my excitement for it, which is a shame because it's just across the channel and I've got no inclination to hop on a ferry at the moment.
No, I can't disagree with you, Sam. Absolutely 100% there. I also think, they brought Brett Hodgson in as a defensive coach, a man who was a failure as a rugby league coach. I mean, I'll turn around to you and say I think Eddie took England as far as he could in November 2019 at that semi-final against the All Blacks. But you're right, they're not going to change it now. They've written off this World Cup quite simply, and it's atrocious. But moving on to a team that I think very unlucky yesterday. There's a certain amount of luck involved in it. first things first, Lydia Thompson, it was a red card. There's no argument with that. She'll know that, and she'll be playing that over in her mind. But New Zealand giving it Billy Big Balls afterwards. You know, they beat a team with 14 players for 60 minutes by 3 points. That England were on top the whole time through, and if Holly Davison hadn't bottled the red card for New Zealand and bottled the penalty try at the end off the line out, then, you know, I think it would have been a different game and a deserved result. I know Matt's going to disagree with me, so I'll go over to John next to see what he thinks.
I just absolutely gutted for him from, you know, this run that's been going on for what feels like years now, and for it to come to an end at the final stage, at the World Cup final. Just absolutely, it was heartbreaking to watch yesterday. Actually, you see the girls afterwards, and we are proud of them. We're so proud of them, but that will mean nothing to them at the minute, unfortunately. But yeah, I just hope that this group, there's still enough young enough legs in this group for them to go again in 4 years' time, and hopefully with home advantage. You know, it done New Zealand no harm, did it? So hopefully it'll be the same for England in a few years' time. But yeah, well done, girls. You made the whole country proud.
Absolutely, I completely agree with that. I will say as well on the New Zealand thing, not me having a pop at New Zealand particularly, but Wayne Smith parachuted in. They brought in a top quality men's coach to get a win on home soil, as it were. He's now sorted off into retirement, done his job. He's not really developing the game. I mean, that's the thing, that you look at that 40,000 people in Eden Park yesterday, and you look at New Zealand. Wayne Smith's gone off. Have they got coaches to come in to take that team on further? And I think it was just a case of, we have to win our own home World Cup, and they did it, and job done. But you know, I don't see the future of the game being as well supported as it is. Even Wales, Scotland, France, they'll all overtake New Zealand in the next 4 years, I think.
Always giving me the microphone.
Power.
No, I mean, first thing for that is imagine what New Zealand women could do if they were actually funded and coached properly.
Yeah.
You know, that's all you can really say about that. I mean, I have sat and watched a massive slow motion analysis of the red card, yellow cards. I think they still think they got it right, but we can cross that another time. But at the end of the day, it is pretty heart-wrenching. England, the architects of their own downfall. We had a red card, we were down to 14 players for an hour, and we had a line out at the end that we botched and lost. So, you know, I get annoyed with bashing the referee all the time, especially when you can look at two incidents and think, well, if we'd have won that, we wouldn't be talking about the referee, really. So it's gutting, absolutely gutting for them, but they played their heart out, and to be fair, you look at how good that team is, to be playing with 14 players and to be within metres of winning that game. They've got to be proud of that. We've got a home World Cup coming in 2025, and we've just got to get behind the whole women's game, because that was a proper advert for rugby. Let's not go along all the controversy and things, because otherwise we're all going to start having a punch-up sitting here. So
yeah, well, that's it. We've all had a couple of beers inside us, apart from Sam, who's got to drive back. But yeah, look. Yeah, I mean, you're going to talk to Fi McIntosh with Joe, and I'm sure you'll go into greater detail about how they're feeling, and also everything to do with Saracens women as well, with the return of Allianz 15. So perhaps we'll hand over to that after a bit of an advert, and then we'll come back, the five of us, when we sobered up a little bit, and discuss what on earth happened today at StoneX.
You're listening to the Fezcast, which is proudly sponsored by the Saracens Supporters Association, and I'm Alison Davis, one of the SSA committee. For a £10 annual subscription, the SSA provides our members with monthly newsletters, virtual and in-person player events, away match ticket allocations, and we organise pre-match gatherings at away matches. We sponsor men's and women's players, and we support the Saracens Foundation Track Club on behalf of our members. On top of all that, every year we have a seasonal SSA badge, which is exclusive to members. Where else can you get that much value for a tenner? Join now at membermojo.co.uk/SSA, or come and see us on match day in the Oasis at the StoneX.
This is the Fezcast.
Well, welcome to the start of the slightly more sober and civilised period of the Fezcast. I've just got Joe here with me at the moment because I'm actually waiting for Fi McIntosh, who's got stuck in traffic. So we're going to have a little chat about the Northampton game as well, because we sat there, the five of us, reviewing it, and we really missed having Joe there. So while we've got a minute, Joe, what are your thoughts on the game against Northampton yesterday? Were you as merry as we were?
Well, I did have a beer, I have to say. Mainly because at half time I was thinking this is not going to go well, so I thought I'm going to have a beer and perhaps drown my sorrows. And then the second half kicked in and I was like, oh, brilliant, game on. From the TV, it was a game definitely of two halves is what I would say. And I don't know genuinely, and this is probably discussed at length in your discussion, I have no idea what Ben Earls now has to do to get an England call-up. That would be my massive takeaway. He was just absolutely immense. And I tell you what, Dave Flatman was raving about him. All of the commentary team were just going absolutely berserk for him, and bloody rightly so, because he was phenomenal in that game. I thought just everything that he did was just a real captain's performance. Loved it. But I did. Yes, and then add a couple more when they won. So that was good.
No, I think we did as well, to be fair. But I think we all kind of thought, well, England's loss is definitely our game. We'll quite happily keep Ben Earl for as long as possible. And after we finished talking, actually, I got to tell everyone this. We walked back over to the ground, and John's lad Charlie, who's got his Ben Earl shirt, was actually diving across the line, scoring a try, and practicing his Ben Earl thumbs up, which is absolutely brilliant. So we should get John to stick that out on our social media, really, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Inspirational.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. And 9 from 9, the lads are on fire, I think. And some might argue who needs our England internationals back, but we will take them back when they come.
Yeah, I think we'll have them all back, really, won't we? Yeah, I think the worrying thing from our side, from the stands, we couldn't really see what happened with Max Malins, to be honest. Was there anything on the telly that you spotted?
Looked like Hammy from the TV, I have to say. He pulled up just as the ball went out wide, and it kind of just looked like he just went, oh, no, didn't like that, and stopped. And perhaps it's bearing in mind, I don't know whether he had a niggle beforehand. Perhaps they just figured we'll just take him off and just hope for the best, and hopefully it's nothing too serious. For both Saracens and for England, really.
Hopefully not. Yeah, I mean we've the England squad or the extended England squad for the next internationals was sent out today, and Max Malins wasn't in it, so he's obviously carrying something. So yeah, hopefully Hammy's okay. And the other one, to be honest, we didn't talk about too much when we chatted between us all was our emergency scrum half that we signed for this week, coming on and scoring within 5 seconds of being on the pitch. He looked pretty lively, really, didn't he, Gareth Simpson?
He did. Definitely a bit of a live wire, and I thought he did all right. And it was a interesting game. No contested scrums and such like, and lots of movement around the pack with a number of little bits of niggles and such like. And that was probably more frustrating, probably for Sarries with the uncontested scrums, because they weren't able to challenge Northants when they were down in the Northants 22. But it is what it is. The result was an absolute belter. It looked good from the TV perspective, certainly in the second half, and I think probably the coaching team will be impressed with Sarries' determination and spirited comeback.
Excellent. Well, yeah, no, it's good. Now we've got views from all 6 of us on a pretty special game. But we'll come back in a second, and hopefully Fi McIntosh has managed to navigate the traffic, and we'll speak to her in a second. Right, so pleased to say that Fi McIntosh has finally got through all of the traffic of the day, which is excellent. So we're back into the show now. So yeah, Fi came to Saracens via Old Alanians via Richmond, via university, and Christ knows what else. But for the last few years, consistent member of the team in the second row. Welcome to the show, Fi.
Hi, yeah, thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure, always a pleasure. And Joe's still here, which is good.
Oh.
So the main thing that we need to talk about, really, I mean, we had a discussion, a few of us yesterday, about the Rugby World Cup final, England's performance, New Zealand's performance. We did slightly mention the referee's performance as well, but as Jez mentioned, it's not a topic I like to get involved in too much. But let's get the view of a player, not a player who was playing at the World Cup, unfortunately, but you never know. But Fi, what was your take on the match and the result for England to start with, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's always disappointing getting as far as a World Cup final and then falling short at the last hurdle. I think the first thing you have to say is massive credit to the England girls for doing as well as they did, playing with only 14 players for, 60 minutes of the game. I think that shows how much composure and stuff that they do have, especially in such a high-pressured situation like the World Cup final. I mean, I can imagine they were absolutely gutted and disappointed with the result, but I think they played pretty well. So they've got to take some sort of pride in that.
No, I absolutely agree, to be honest. And yeah, I'm going to turn around and say I thought the decisions that the referee made were absolutely perfect. I have got no issue with them whatsoever. Other people on this show have said otherwise. So, Joe, what do you think?
I'm not one of those, by the way. I agree. I think she's refereed brilliantly. I thought her selection as the World Cup final referee was a really good call, and the tackle was just one of those things. There was clearly no malicious intent from Lydia Thompson, and I'm sure she's absolutely gutted by the outcome of it, because she's a fantastic player and she's just got in the wrong position. Portia Woodman will be gutted as well, because obviously she wasn't able to continue in the game as well. So gutting from her point of view as well. And I think not that it spoilt the game, but I just think about what the potential could have been if it had been 15 on 15 and with Portia Woodman playing in that game as well, because it was a spectacle as it was. But I think if that had been 15 against 15 for a whole 80 minutes, I think it would have been absolutely immense. And yeah, I agree. It's just I'm gutted for the Red Roses because 30-game winning streak, showed how composed they are, how dominant they are in so many facets of the game, and to lose by just 3 points and have that opportunity to squeak over the line in that last minute and 30 seconds. I think it's a run of the game, but I think they can only be proud of themselves. And actually, I think any of the reps that played out there in that Rugby World Cup, I think the tournament itself was a really brilliant advocate for women's sport, not just women's rugby, women's sport. The number of people that have been and watched the game, people have got up, certainly on this side of the world where it's been silly o'clock. The viewing figures are just brilliant. And all I can say is I was at the watch party at the Cabbage Patch on Saturday morning with people queuing up at 5:45 in the morning to get in there to view it. 5:45 in the morning, queuing at a pub in Twickenham where there's nobody else around, but people wanting to come in and watch that. The atmosphere was brilliant, but the fact that people are wanting to do that, and all I'm going to say is, and it's a bit of a plug, get your tickets for the Six Nations game at Twickenham on the 29th of April against France, because that is going to be belter. And all I can say is we are going to kick that world record up its bum. 42,000 people at Eden Park. I reckon we could spank that at Twickenham. No problem. Done and done.
Joe's had a say. Fi, were you watching it down the pub or were you a bit more...
I was watching it at my local rugby club. They put it on in the morning, gave us some bacon rolls and tea and coffee. Yeah.
Tea and coffee? No pint of Guinness?
No Guinness, not that time in the morning, no.
No, can't get you in trouble. We can talk about that one off air. I mean, as obviously, there are people within the Saracens, or a lot of players within the Saracens women's squad are at the World Cup. Have you spoken to anyone from within the squad, either from the England side or any of the other teams playing, about how it was?
I spoke to a few of the girls. Obviously, just mainly like big congratulation messages and stuff, giving them time to process it all, and it must be so intense. I can only imagine in such a big competition, so far away from home as well, to just like go through all of that. It must take a bit of time to kind of like process everything that's gone on. But yeah, I think the general consensus is that, obviously disappointment. They went out there to win, and that was the goal from the very beginning, and it always has been. So to not be able to achieve that is absolutely gutting. But a lot of young players in the squad as well, and I think for them, first World Cup, a lot of them, not many international caps behind their belts, and to go out and play in such a big competition, actually, like, that's really, really exciting, because it's just the start of their careers, and there'll be plenty of other opportunities for all of them to be in, World Cup finals in the future, and hopefully be a different result at the end of the day. So
yeah, 2025 is going to be pretty fun, I think. But I know one thing that Joe and I do want to pick up on. Neither of us have seen the start of how this all came about, but we were speaking before you arrived, Fi, about the apparent messages that may have been sent to Lucy Packer during or post match, and the response from Leanne Infante. I mean, Joe, I'm going to hand over to you. Really, it isn't right. We don't know what's been going on, but social media does have its problems, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm just really disappointed that people still feel the need to do that. I personally, I will hold my hands up. I had a little bit of a, oh dear Lord, moment when it was announced that Leanne had been injured pre-game, and was thinking that's a big step up for Lucy Packer. But I have to say, amongst all the doubters, I thought she did a pretty damn good job, to be fair to her. That's a big stage to perform on. She didn't play an awful amount in the World Cup, but she had a fair few warm-up games. Clearly she plays regularly for Quins at a high level. And, I don't think anyone deserves any kind of trolling that's prompted that from Leanne. And I thought it was a classy response from Leanne, and right that she felt the need to do that and put that message out. But I would hope that kind of behaviour just stops, and I hope that it's limited to what's been received and there is no more of it, because it's just bang out of order.
Yeah, I mean, just out of interest, I mean, when you sort of come into the Saracens women's squad and after a few years, are there any sort of conversations about social media and how it's used, and how to sort of either ignore anything that goes on, or do you get any kind of training is the wrong word, because you shouldn't have to train yourself to be normal. It's
Yeah, no. I mean, we've got not necessarily like anything in particular. We've got like our media guys who are always there on hand if anything is going on, to just like drop a message to and say, look, this is going on, and I'm sure they'd be able to kind of talk you through how to deal with something like that. I think the England girls do get a little bit of like just media training in general. We had a little bit of it when I was in the under-20s. We had half a day where they just kind of like, it's things you wouldn't normally think about, posting something where you're out with all your friends, and not kind of thinking twice about it. But actually, when your profile is being looked at, and even like looked up by so many young girls, thinking, oh, let me go and check out this girl's Instagram or Twitter or something like that, it's things that you don't necessarily think about, and you've actually got to realize that you are, once you're in those kind of positions, you are a role model. So there is a little bit of that kind of training to just make you conscious of that kind of stuff, but nothing really to do with negative comments or how to deal with that. And for anyone to go through that would be so difficult, never mind having just come off the back of losing the World Cup final and the disappointment you'd be feeling through that, and to then have all these negative comments piled up on top of that. I mean, I didn't personally see any of them. I saw Leanne's response to it, but I just think it's completely unnecessary. What people, sat back at home on their sofa watching the game think that they have more of a say than the England coaches on who should be selected, or more of a say than the girls who have absolutely worked their butts off to get into the team, to get there and to perform. They think that they've got the right to kind of, throw negativity around. I think it's really wrong.
Can't say fairer than that, really. And yeah, I mean, from our side, doing this as a podcast, we've spoken to plenty of you, and the fact that you're all pretty well accessible to us and to other people is something that really shouldn't be taken for granted. And if something like that does keep carrying on, then that will soon stop. So yeah, hopefully that's the end of it. But it's a long road ahead with social media. But let's get on to a much brighter topic, shall we? Let's actually focus on Fi McIntosh, because that's why you're here. While the World Cup was going on, we obviously had the cup fixtures, which there was a bit of turmoil in and around them. We played three, didn't quite play a fourth one, which hopefully is going ahead at some point. But Fi, you sort of took on a bit of a leadership role within those games. Is it? How did you feel that went for you in sort of three matches of running the engine room in the second row, and I think it was Cara Wardle alongside as a sort of co-captain? Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah. No, I think it was a great opportunity for me. Before playing at Saracens, I played at Richmond, and they were kind of bottom of the table, and not a few international girls, but not kind of the number that we have at Sarries. So making that jump into the Sarries team was like a big step for me, and it's been amazing to learn from all of those girls. But actually, with them all being away at the World Cup, it's given me a great opportunity to kind of step into that leadership role myself. And I've realised not only on the field, but it's developed a lot of my personal skills off the field as well, giving me a bit of confidence in the way that I play and stuff. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it, and doing it alongside Cara, which has been great because she's great at bossing the backs around and telling them what to do, running their moves when I don't know what's going on there. Talk to me about a line out, that's fine, I'll tell you everything. But what the backs are doing, Cara can boss them around and deal with that. So it's been good having her kind of co-captaining alongside me as well through the cup stuff. We
did actually speak to Cara, well, probably this time last year, actually, when she was doing some of the cup games, and yeah, said something pretty similar, I think. So. But in terms of the results themselves, obviously, the Bristol game didn't go as well as we hoped, and the other two fixtures were much better. But in a way, for me, I'm looking at those thinking the result isn't necessarily the most important side of things with the team there. How was that sort of in the way for you, or was it disappointed not to win, obviously? But
I think you never want to go into a game thinking you don't want to win it. We always, especially at Sarries, have that standard that we want to show, and we want to showcase what we can do. I think it has been a bit of a strange time with so many international girls away. And so many girls coming in, having their first caps, filling positions they might not necessarily play in. But even if we did have that kind of drive and desire to win that game that we didn't win, there was so much learning from that actually it was still beneficial. And this whole cup competition, it gives such a opportunity to those girls who maybe would be benching when all of the internationals are here, or haven't just had that much game time, or the young girls coming through. It just provides them opportunities to kind of play on that big stage, and it's really, really beneficial. And yeah, I mean, of course we'll want to win, you never want to lose a game, but yeah, it's been really good, really beneficial.
Joe, you got a big grin on your face there.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I mean, I've obviously been to a fair few of the cup games, missed the Sale one, but I agree totally with Fi there. It's a really good opportunity. We've had a fair few signings that have come in. I mean, if you've listened to the podcast, Fi, you'll have heard me expunging about the brilliance of Grace Moore, amongst others, who is literally seems to have waltzed into the Sarries pack and is like a awesome, just a train of absolute driving through everything and everyone, really. I just sit there and just stand at the side of the pitch, just open mouth most of the time when I should be taking photographs. But the performance from the women's team in those cup games, there's been some really strong performances. And you can see actually that the team have gelled, even though there's been quite a few mixes in amongst the team and the squad there. But I think Alex has done a really good job in terms of giving people those opportunities to do it. And obviously you and Cara have relished being in those leadership roles, and you can tell that the rest of the girls have responded to that. So it's been great to watch on the sidelines, and we can't wait for the season opener on Sunday against Loughborough as well to see what the next season brings. And going in as obviously reigning champs, there's some performance to continue and drive on through there.
That's very well engineered into the next part of a discussion. You're a professional here, Joe. But yeah, obviously the season is starting on Sunday. Unfortunately, again, I've picked a terrible day to work a Sunday, so I won't be there, unfortunately. Joe, you will definitely. You'll have a camera in hand, won't you?
I will most definitely.
Excellent, but yeah, it should be a very good game, and I'm assuming there's a lot of the international girls that are probably not quite ready to come straight back into the club game. But I'm not going to ask you to talk about selection yet, Fi. But how are we looking for the start of the season? Obviously, we've talked about the cup, and it's gone well gelling a lot of players in. But is there a different mindset going into the league season, or is it just more of the same?
I don't think necessarily a different mindset. Like I said, even though the cup gave us a lot, like even at the back of everyone's mind, it was we want to go out there and show the standard that we can play to and perform. And then if we're able to do that along comes with that the wins. I do think it's exciting starting into the Prem. There's not many opportunities you get where you play the same team within a couple of weeks. So to have played Loughborough a few weeks ago and then be our first Prem game is really exciting, knowing that having beaten them in the cup, we come in with a little bit of maybe like a psychological advantage as well, knowing that we've had that win very recently. So that's exciting to start the Prem off like that. But no, I think at Saracens we're always wanting to just drive the standards, and we won last year. But whether we're winning or not, we want to go out and we want to push the boundaries. We want to be showing what women's rugby is and what we can do, and just performing like the best that we possibly could. And like I said, that brings the wins along with it. So hopefully a lot more of that through the Prem.
Yeah, fair play. Now I'm going to ask you a question. I asked this of quite a few people, and every single time I get the classic Saracens team response. I want you to be really, really selfish. Over the last couple of years, we've noticed you've quietly gone about your business in the second row, made the most of a lot of good opportunities you've had. You've got the likes of Poppy Cleal, Marley Packer around you. You get all the headlines all the time, but nuts to them. You've just been consistently good over the last couple of years. What are your goals for this season, next season, and beyond? What are you hoping to get?
I mean, ever since I started playing rugby when I was young, I wanted to, wear a red rose. Coming through and playing England under 20s and stuff gave me like a great opportunity to kind of see that. So I think, keep building on my performance in the Prem, and that could potentially happen at some point. So obviously that's an end goal. But yeah, I want to win another premiership this year, keep driving through in the team. I think having the likes of Sonic in the team, who's getting 300 caps for Sarries, over now, to me, that's completely inspiring. I want to hit the 100 caps, I want to hit the 300 caps at some point in my life. So yeah, that's the long-term goals. But I guess, short-term, just keep pushing on, keep driving my own performance, learning from those around me, and ending up lifting the trophy again at the end of the Premier this year.
That's good. So many people just go, it's not about me, it's about the team, and as long as you're doing it right, bollocks, I want England caps. That's the best thing.
I love it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think even like having dreams like that, it drives you to be a better player. And if you're a better player, you hold higher standards for those around you, and eventually that lifts the whole team around you as well. So if I can be the best in my position there and give the team the best of myself, then it makes us all better together. So
that's a leader talking. That is this co-captaincy fee, honestly.
Yeah, that's definitely captaincy material, that, isn't it? Is there any fixture you're looking forward to more than anything this season? Obviously, when we go in as champions, you've always got a target on your back. But I mean, there's games that we always look forward to as fans when you think, yeah, this is going to be pretty mega. But is there anything that stands out to you beyond Harlequins and Exeter? Because
yeah, I mean, Harlequins and Exeter are always the good games, the tough ones, the most like rewarding wins when they come. I think for me personally, I was at college at Gloucester Hartpury for 2 years, so a lot of my friends stayed on there at uni and will play for Gloucester now. And so that's always a good game. I like going back there. I like playing at Hartpury, playing against all of them. It's like a nice kind of friendly rivalry, I'd say. But yeah, I always look forward to that. I think Gloucester away's always been quite a strange one for Sarries. We've always started out very slow, and it's always been a real slog to the end of the game. But for me personally, I've always enjoyed the battle, and enjoyed getting to see a lot of my friends from college and stuff as well. And putting some big shots in on some of them is always quite fun.
That's the right answer. Joe, you'll be travelling around with your camera all season, I'm sure. Is there anything that you're looking forward to as well?
Yeah, I think, we clearly the Prem 15s is the tournament to play in across the world now. It's just shown us, that is the league that everyone wants to be a part of. We saw it last year with the influx of players that came from across the world to play in the league, and I think it's just one of those leagues that just shows the best of rugby, not just women's rugby, the best of rugby. You addressed it before about the interaction that the players have, not just with us lot who do podcasts and other bits and pieces, but the interaction with the fans and the people that come out and watch them, week after week in all kinds of weathers, and turn up at games even when the game unfortunately gets called off. That's why the fans keep coming back, because they relish that time, and I see the smiles on the kids' faces when they get to have their pictures taken and the signatures with their favourite players, and I have to say Sarries are one of the best at doing that. They just take the time to do that, so much so that I think Mel will probably kill me for encouraging them to continue to do this, because I know that she's often trying to herd the cats to get back into the locker room, but no, it's really appreciated, and the fans love coming out and doing that. The club have recognised that with season tickets for the women's game now, which is great, because more and more people are coming down there, making it more accessible for everyone to come and watch. And we've got double headers coming up with the game against Tel Aviv, I think it is, isn't it? The men's team playing against Tel Aviv. Yeah. And I would hope that really, really brings a really good crowd out. And the success of our internationals, not just the Red Roses, but the internationals that we've got in the club and across the league now, I just hope brings many, many more people out to watch the women's game, because it's a fantastic game to watch, and there is some absolute crunching tackles. And clearly Fi plays a massive part in that. And if you don't see her crunching a tackle, you'll definitely see her at the top of the line out, because she's always there. No, I can't wait.
Yeah. I will be at or I should be at our home game against Gloucester Hartpury, so I'll be keeping a close eye on you, Fi, for that first tackle goal. Who are your friends?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think we all recognise that the growth of the women's game is so important, and having the supporters there, it wouldn't be growing the way it would without that support. So I think all of us as players are very aware of that, and anything we can do to kind of say thank you and show a bit of support back is what we want to do, because we know that we wouldn't be where we were if it wasn't for all of the supporters coming out every weekend and stuff. So yeah,
that's the second leadership comment that she's made there. Absolute belt. We
should throw that back at you, really, Fi, because the amount of time that you guys do give us, and I'm not just talking us as a podcast, but fans as well. It's one of the best things to see. I mean, I did talk to Lottie Clapp about it. One of the best things for her is seeing all of her students that she teaches coming around with banners.
Yeah.
And, it's pretty inspiring, really. You can see all the young girls turning up at matches. The crowds are growing. It's becoming more and more inspiring for people. So hopefully this season, there's a long way to go in a lot of ways, as we've already talked about, but this season could be pretty big. So thank you and all of your teammates as well for how much you inspire all of us.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I remember being a little girl stood watching England games and all Prem games and stuff, and thinking that's inspiring to me. So if I can do anything to do that for other younger girls. I mean, just a funny example, I was watching an England game when Rocky was playing, and I've got a picture of me on the sidelines, a little selfie with me and Rocky, and then when I come to Sarries and we're now playing alongside each other. So things like that just, I think, make the women's game really, really special.
We need those two pictures side by side. I need a picture of you and Rocky this season, so that you can then send me that picture of you and Rocky when you were...
Yeah, for sure. I'll send them over to you.
We will get that up, because that sounds like a belting story.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I think Rocky could probably do that with quite a few people.
Yeah.
Real talent. Her and Sonic as well. I mean, earlier when you said, Sonic being inspiring and she's getting... I didn't think 300 caps was going to be what came out of your mouth. I thought you were just going to say she's getting old, so you could take her place.
No, I mean, do you know what? You can joke about that all you want, but she's still so incredibly fit. Any fitness sessions, tests, anything like that, she's wiping the floor with most people. So all creds to her.
Yeah, I mean, anyone that can come back from a broken leg in your mid-30s and come back and actually seem to be fitter than before you broke it, that's good going. But yeah, now I've ruined our chances of getting both Rocky and Sonic on the Fezcast. That's probably a good point to stop me from putting my foot in it any further. So Fi, just thank you very much for joining us. I'm sorry the traffic was terrible getting here, even though we are on Zoom. But
nothing we can do about that.
But no, best of luck for the weekend. I'm sure Joe will see you there. I can't be there, unfortunately, but I'll hopefully be around at the double header and the Gloucester game. And then, Fi, Joe, thank you very much. And we'll hand back over to me actually after Jez.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hi guys, I'm Alex Linton and I'm a proud Looseheads ambassador.
I'm Sydney Gregson and I'm a Looseheads ambassador.
We're a rugby mental health charity working to tackle the stigma. You can find us at Looseheads on all social media channels or at looseheads.co.uk.
The Looseheads mission is to place a mental health lead at every rugby club. Get in touch now to find out more. Take care and enjoy the rest of the podcast.
Enjoy the rest of the pod.
Is the Fezcast.
Okay, well, welcome back to our last part of this week's Fezcast, sat in the beautiful August sunshine, as it seems, at StoneX, following Saracens against Saints. Saracens going 9 from 9. 45-39? How on earth did that happen? I mean, that is an amazing game. As we said before the break, John said, I don't think there's any other club in the world, let alone in the Premiership, that could do that. But yeah, where do we start? We did say beforehand, controversies, referees, we don't know how to get on with the referees. I don't think the ref today had a particularly good game. But I suppose the sign of it is I should imagine there's a fair few Saints fans walking out saying that referee had an absolute abysmal game. I do think the first, again, we talk about red cards, yellow cards. I thought both yellows were reds. Yeah. And different ref, different day, different outcome. I think they could easily have been reds. But, yeah, gents, Matt, you first. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we asked for consistency. He consistently gave those 2 high shots as yellow cards, so that's a start. 39-17. I mean, I never leave a game early, but that was game over. We were just there for the ride after that. And, 28 unanswered points. I actually think we butchered a few opportunities there as well, so that could have been 60-30. So I don't really know what to say about that. It's insane.
I mean, I think the biggest thing is it was like Rorke's Drift at one point, wasn't it? You had players going down. We lost an entire front row within about 20 minutes. Other than Theo Dan, who again today really did up his credentials, and the news is still going around about Jamie George is off to France next year. I mean, if Theo can continue to carry on like that, we're not going to be fussed. But he was absolutely awesome. Sam, tell us what you thought about Theo's performance today.
I mean, I've been talking about Theo Dan for a little while, so I'm quite happy for once I got it right, because I actually said once that I didn't think Max Malins would ever come to anything. So that just shows you what my credentials are like in picking players. But
he did nothing today.
Yeah, he did nothing today. The only reason Theo Dan did not get man of the match today is because Ben Earl was on the pitch. That's the only reason, because apart from that, he was absolutely incredible. He's very, very difficult to tackle, and his energy is that the only person that can beat him for energy is Ben Earl. Those were the 2 best players on the pitch by a country mile today. I just thought they were absolutely phenomenal. Theo Dan, I can't say enough about him. I'm just so excited. I'm really excited to see what he can do, because what is he, 20 years old? Maybe not even 22. He's got England written all over him, hasn't he?
Romania written all over him.
Well, I was going to say, you say he's got England written all over him, but Ben Earl can't get in the England team. Elliot Daly, who I did think had a good game, particularly seeing as he was moved around position very early on. I'll also put a note out for Andy Christie. I thought had a very big game today. He was a very willing runner. Anybody else you want to spot there, Barry?
I think everyone really played their part. I mean, we were joking off air, and I was saying, one more injury up front, and I reckon I might have got on, because we were running so desperately short at one point. It was ridiculous, but uncontested scrums did us a favour, so we have to be a little bit thankful for that. But yeah, everyone, they don't know when they're beaten. They really don't. Someone should probably tell them at some point.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? They don't know when they're beat. And when I interviewed Kelly Brown last week, I started it off by turning around saying, the analogy I've used quite a lot is, you're watching Ronnie O'Sullivan at the Crucible, and he suddenly potted 7 reds, 7 blacks, and you're thinking, is there something special on? And today I was worried about Saints coming here, because you looked at what they've got out, and their back line, phenomenal. Mitchell should be in the England squad. Smith, Dingwall, Furbank, they've got a wealth of talent there. And for 30 minutes, they looked like they were going to put us out of sight, and probably should have put us out of sight. Yet Saracens can come back. So are we now sitting here looking at the fixtures coming up, bearing in mind we've got a bit of a break and everything from league, Europe's going to take over, are we now looking at the league and saying, can we do it? Can we go the entire season undefeated?
There's absolutely no reason why we can't. If you look at the table now, we're 18 points clear at the top. There's I think we've got a 22-point cushion on 5th. So just pencil us in for our home semi-final already, and we'll buy our tickets for the final, because I may be getting a little bit carried away, but how can you watch that and not get carried away? For like I said, 9 out of 9 in the league is just ridiculous. It's another bonus point win, and it's another come back from the dead win as well. And it'd be nice to have a couple more performances or results like the Leicester game, where it was a little bit less harsh on the heart, but no other team does that. We're gonna win the league. It's done.
Yeah, I mean that is a real good point. And I mean, Matt, what do you want to add?
I'll tell you what is going to stop us going unbeaten in the league is because we're going to be 30 points clear with 8 games to go, and Mark McCall's going to go, right, have a break, boys. That's all we can do. To be fair, one thing I want to say is Alec Clary today. Anyone?
Oh, like I say, Alec came on, played loosehead when he's a tight head, number 1, and number 2, every time there was slow ball, Alec put himself in a position to say, I am going to take this hit. And he took the hit, And yeah, he might not have gone yards past the contact, but he hit the ground, he presented the ball, and then Ivan van Zil's come in, whap, 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 away it goes. Yeah, Alec, huge game, absolutely monster game. And I think Ethan Lewis came on, did much the same. You're right. Bearing in mind we were so far down at one point, and very good friend of mine came to his first ever game at StoneX. He only lives in Crouch End, so he's come along today. He sat there and he said 20 minutes ago, he said, I'm really sorry. He said, I'm obviously a jinx. And I said, don't worry. He said, because this is my first game at StoneX this season, so obviously it's my issue as well. But, you know, he then, at the end of it, looked, he went 28 unanswered points. He says, your team... You know, he's just a rugby fan. He got no particular loyalty to anybody whatsoever. He says, your rugby team is amazing. He says, no wonder you enjoy coming along and watching it. And it is just having that balls out, never say die attitude. I mean, Barry, come on.
Do you know what? Being a Saracens fan at the moment is probably better now than it was pre-2019 with the salary cap stuff. We had a lot of stars then. I mean, who wouldn't enjoy watching Will Skelton and... Liam Williams played. I mean, Liam Williams was brilliant. How on earth he could run with those legs, I'll never know. But it's more fun now because these guys are so tight and they're so they're just playing for each other and they're playing for us. I'll say it. They are playing for us because they just don't know when to give up.
Well, I think that's a very valid point you place there, because the players that we are talking about are either players who've come through the youth. So it's, you know, you talk about 2019, I'm thinking back even further, 2010, when you got the likes of Goody, Faz, Brad Barrett, all coming through, Jamie George, either coming through or being unheralded players from outside coming into the team. We've got the same DNA again as we did in 2010, only we've also got one hell of a lot of flair, which we didn't have in 2010. We were very pragmatic back 12 years ago when Faz was coming through and Goody and Jamie George and the Vunipolas, whatever. Now you're looking at it, we've got flair, but we've got that same blend of kids who've come through the academy who understand what it is to be Saracens, who understand what it is to sit on the sidelines and watch. And you've then also got that experience. So, you know, you look at Alex Good at 76 years old, or however old he is now. He is still playing with the same exuberance he had when he broke through that team in 2008. Elliot Daly, I can't say high enough, because, I mean, there's a guy who could easily turn around and say, you know, I'm just going to take some dollar now and move off somewhere else, he said, because he's obviously not in Eddie Jones's England plans, so why wouldn't he take some dollar? But he's actually going out there and playing at a really high level. I think Jackson Ray's another one, you know, he's come through, he knows what it is. It is, yeah, a band of brothers, shall we say? Is that a fair comment to say? Is that well, I mean, yeah, absolutely fantastic. Look, I'm losing my voice. I've done a bit of shouting today. I don't know what everyone else is like. It's been lovely sitting down with you five guys. Unfortunately, obviously, Jo couldn't join us, but I know she's messaged and said how much she's enjoyed the game today. And Matt, you'll be speaking to her tomorrow with Fi McIntosh. But yeah, thank you everybody for listening in. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully you've all got your voices back by the time you hear this on Wednesday morning. And look forward to speaking to you next week on the Fezcast.
This is the Fezcast.